Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrives in Brazil for BRICS summit and state visit on the fourth leg of his five-nation tour of the Global South. Earlier, Prime Minister Modi holds talks with President Javier Milei in Argentina, highlights India's strength in healthcare and pharmaceuticals. India and Argentina deepen their bilateral ties with a focus on boosting trade and cooperation in energy and critical minerals. And Elon Musk launches new political party, vows to restore freedom and challenge Trump's Republican Party in the 2026 midterm elections. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Brazil. He will participate in the BRICS summit at Rio de Janeiro on the 6th and 7th of July. On the 8th of July, the Prime Minister will have a bilateral meeting with President Lula da Silva in Brasilia. From artists and chefs to business leaders and small children, the Indian community is looking forward to and preparing for meeting Prime Minister Modi. And these are the latest visuals coming to you from Rio de Janeiro as the Prime Minister arrives in Brazil on the fourth, the penultimate leg of his five-nation tour of the Global South. He is in Brazil for the BRICS summit, followed by a state visit. If you're just joining us, we're getting to you the latest visuals of the Prime Minister's arrival in Rio de Janeiro. He is now visiting Brazil for the 17th BRICS summit to be held in the city on the 6th and 7th, followed by a state visit to Brazil to take place in Brasilia on the 8th of July. The Prime Minister is on a four-day visit to Brazil, which is the penultimate leg of his five-nation tour of the Global South that has already taken him to Ghana, Trinidad and Tobago, and Argentina. And while we stay on these visuals, let me quickly recap for you the latest news that we are tracking here on DD India. In the fourth leg of his visit, the Prime Minister is in Brazil to attend the 17th BRICS summit, followed by a state visit. This is the Prime Minister's fourth visit to Brazil. The 17th BRICS Leaders Summit will be held in Rio de Janeiro. During the summit, the Prime Minister will exchange views on key global issues, including reform of global governance, peace and security, strengthening multilateralism, and responsible use of artificial intelligence, besides, of course, climate action, global health, economic and financial matters. The Prime Minister also likely to hold several bilateral meetings on the margins of the summit. And for the state visit to Brazil, the Prime Minister will travel to Brasilia, where he will hold bilateral talks with President Lula on the broadening of the strategic partnership between the two countries. As a founding member, India is committed to BRICS as a vital platform for cooperation among emerging economies. Together, India strives for a more peaceful, equitable, just, democratic and balanced multipolar world order. As I mentioned before, on the sidelines of the summit, the Prime Minister will hold several other bilateral meetings with the world leaders attending the 17th BRICS summit. Right, joining us for more on the Prime Minister's visit to Brazil is my colleague Meghna. Meghna, talk to us about the visit.
Ramesh, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to arrive at the hotel in just some time from now. What we get to know that he has landed in Rio de Janeiro, and he will be arriving at the hotel in just some time, where a huge Indian diaspora awaits him, awaits to welcome him. We are seeing people have been waiting since hours at this place for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's arrival, and people have lined up in huge numbers to welcome him. Obviously, today it is he has been traveling here from Argentina, and after this, tomorrow he has important is here in Rio de Janeiro for the BRICS summit, and we know that the BRICS process is led by the chair, and India will be the chair of the BRICS summit of the BRICS next year. So that is going to be very important, and this makes this visit even more significant on that front. And when we actually see that tomorrow his engagements will also
I'm afraid we've lost that link with Meghna. We'll try to re-establish the connection with her in just a bit. But if you're just tuning in, we're getting to you the latest visuals from Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, where the Prime Minister has arrived just a short while ago on the fourth or penultimate leg of his five-nation tour of the Global South. He is in Brazil now for the 17th BRICS Summit, to be held in the city on the 6th and 7th of July, followed by a state visit to Brazil that will take place in Brasilia on the 8th of July. This is the Prime Minister's fourth visit to Brazil. He has arrived in Rio from Buenos Aires, Argentina, where he held talks with Argentine President Javier Milei. He's now in Brazil on the penultimate leg of his five-nation tour of the Global South. You can see on your screens Ambassador Dinesh Bhatia and others receiving the Prime Minister. I'm told my colleague is back on the phone line. Meghna, you were telling us about the visit. What's in store over the next few days in Brazil?
Yes, Ramesh, we could actually see, just because there is a lot of noise here of the excitement of the Indian diaspora, I'm hardly able to hear you. But to continue what I was telling you about tomorrow's engagement that Prime Minister will be attending, obviously the Rio Summit, and the theme of this time summit is strengthening Global South cooperation for inclusive and sustainable governance. And the program tomorrow actually includes the first agenda item. Now, what we get to understand is that the first agenda item is restricted only for the full members, where only the full members will be participating. And this is on the reform of global governance. This is also what India's priorities at the BRICS are. So when we actually see that Brazil's priorities for the BRICS are quite in alignment with what India also vouches for in the BRICS. Now, besides that, we get to understand that there will be a second item on the agenda, which will be on peace and security. It will be held in a working lunch format, so the leaders will be discussing the agenda item there, and all of this, whatever will happen on that day, that is tomorrow, will come in the leader statements, which will actually be seen as what are the deliverables. Now, what we also understand post lunch, there is also another item on the agenda on strengthening multilateralism and economic financial affairs, artificial intelligence. So, and also an official reception of the leaders will be held. All the leaders who are participating will also be held. So definitely tomorrow is a very long, packed day for engagements that the Prime Minister will be attending. And obviously, he will be part of all the agendas. Besides that, The bilaterals are also expected on the sidelines. So we'll have to see as the day unfolds what more will be happening on the sidelines, what Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also hold talks on the sidelines of the summit with the leaders.
Meghna, you are at the Prime Minister's hotel waiting for his arrival there. In the meantime, we're given to understand that there are a large number of Indian diaspora waiting to catch a glimpse of the Prime Minister. Are they an excited lot? Talk to us a bit about, if you will, about the diaspora itself.
Yes, actually speaking, the diaspora is not a large number here in Brazil for that matter, but definitely a lot of people who are here are businessmen, and mostly in different sectors. We've been meeting businessmen here who are second generation businessmen, but of them are working in companies like TCS and other companies. So there are also working professionals who are here. A few of them are also working here in terms of the cultural domain. So while there is not a very huge diaspora, but it is most of the diaspora is in Sao Paulo or in Rio de Janeiro. A few of them also live in Brasilia and other different parts of Brazil. Obviously, we know it's a very large country. But having said that, now what we get to understand from the diaspora is that there are more Indians who are working or wanting to work in Brazil in terms of entrepreneurship, startups, and also especially in terms of the cashew production, agri-tech. There is something that intrigues a lot. These people are doing in the agriculture sector is what something that people who are working in Indian startups want to come here and learn and probably co-develop and take the technology from here. So these are some things that the diaspora have told us that how Indian businesses now also are interested in Brazil. So when Prime Minister Narendra Modi comes here, it can be expected that there will also be something on the agricultural front because we also know that the next leg of his visit is this state visit, which will include a bilateral with President Lula. So there are expectations from the diaspora on different fronts, especially in terms of enhancing the business ties with Brazil. Obviously, we know Brazil is one of the most important countries in terms of trade for India in Latin America. So this is something that that will be strengthened with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit, and especially with the state level visit that is going to happen in the next leg of his visit to Brazil.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Meghna, thank you for bringing us up to speed with the latest on the Prime Minister's visit to Brazil. Right, in other news, Prime Minister Modi is, as I said, in Brazil. He will participate in the BRICS summit at Rio de Janeiro on the 6th and 7th of July. On the 8th of July, he will have a bilateral meeting with President Lula da Silva in Brasilia. From artists and chefs to business leaders and small children, the Indian community is looking forward to and preparing for meeting with Prime Minister Modi. DD India's Shobhan Saxena reports from Sao Paulo.
Members of Indian community in Brazil are very excited and enthusiastic about the visit of Prime Minister Modi here on July 5th. The community is preparing hard to welcome the Prime Minister of India. Led by Kathak teacher Gyan Shikarahe, Indian ladies from 3 different cities are preparing a special dance for the PM's reception at Rio de Janeiro.
We are preparing a cultural program to welcome our PM and to homage our Indian Armed Force and PM sir. One girl, she's preparing very beautiful painting for to receive our PM, and of course cultural singing, dancing will be there.
At Brazil's best-known Indian restaurant, Chef Dipali Vahaskar, who had served the PM during the G20 summit last year, is again working on a special menu for PM Modi.
It's been a great joy and a very privileged occasion for us to serve Mr. Modi, our Prime Minister of India. This will be the second time, and we'll be serving him a traditional menu as well as some local touches to some dishes considering his diet restrictions and his choices of food.
It's a great privilege and honor as an Indian restaurant which is going to take care of the meals and nutritional part of Mr. Modi in Rio de Janeiro. And being a member of Indian community, we are very excited for this event. Again, a lot of cultural activities are participated, a lot of enthusiasm among the Indian community and diaspora here to visit and greet and meet Mr. Modi. And this thing, I think, will be a memorable event that will be captured by every young, old, and youth, and the kids too.
I'm really excited. It's my first time seeing the Prime Minister. When I just came hearing this news, I was really happy. I'm also going to perform in the cultural performance.
Indian business community, mostly based in Sao Paulo, is gearing up to receive PM Modi in Rio de Janeiro and Brasilia this week.
Any head of the state visiting a country and then making a specific space and time to meet their community representatives is very symbolic and has a huge, I think, emotional connection, but also sends a symbolic message that we understand you, we are listening to your concerns, and we're going to address that concern.
A large number of members of Indian community are heading to Rio and Brasilia to welcome Prime Minister Modi, and they hope that his visit to BRICS summit and the bilateral meeting with President Lula will bring a new dimension to good relations between India and Brazil. This is Shobhan Saxena for DD India, Sao Paulo, Brazil.
An important business gathering is taking shape under the BRICS umbrella with a high-profile Indian business delegation in Brazil. From agribusiness to gems and jewelry and startups, the Indian delegation is scouting key sectors ripe for collaboration. DD India spoke to the delegation in Rio de Janeiro about their expectations from the summit and the bilateral between India and Brazil.
Joined in by all business people from India. Ma'am, thank you so much for talking to us, and we already have a delegation. What are the expectations? What are we talking about? What is the brainstorming that's going on?
It's really heartening to see that for the Brazilian business delegation and who we've been interacting with, and of course the government officials here are really interested in promoting Brazilian startups. So I think there's a great synergy between Indian startups, Indian investors, legacy companies here, and investors and the governments wanting to work on innovation, startups, and growing the whole startup ecosystem.
We're also, obviously, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be holding a bilateral with President Lula. What are the expectations of the Indian businessmen that you are expecting that will be one of the outcomes from the meeting?
We see a lot of opportunity because I see some diverse angles also here. Here the natural resources are in plenty. There is a scope for innovation is very high. What attracted me here is how do they use the biofuels? Yeah, they are the leaders in that.
Tariff is 100% there. That once it is reduced, certainly there is a lot of scope between two countries and both will be winner. Only is that CBO, complete build-up unit, should be allowed to basically export here at a slightly cheaper rate.
Economically speaking, what are the expectations from the BRICS?
BRICS is doing a great job by getting people united out here and making people understand what are the opportunities in India, Brazil, what bilateral trade we guys can do together.
We want the primacy of the Indian business. His visit will spur that and will actually give a big fillip and encouragement to all of us to do more.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to come here. There is going to be a lot of eyeballs that will be tuned to get to know what will be happening, what kind of discussions will be happening on the economic front. With camera person Piyush Verma, this is Meghna Dev for DD India from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Meghna also spoke with women from the Indian diaspora in Brazil. Take a listen.
There is palpable excitement in the Indian diaspora. We'll speak to a few of them to understand what are their preparations. Definitely there's a lot of excitement. What do you have to say?
The whole Indian community is very, very happy and excited. Last year we met him. It's like just in 6 months we are going to see him again, and we are really, really, really very happy.
I'm really excited. Everyone is excited that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is coming again. It's my first time meeting him. I'm so happy. I was excited, really excited.
I was waiting for this day to come.
Everybody is so excited about Narendra Modi, sir. And we are all excited. We are coming again. This is my second time here. But still, everybody is coming to see Narendra Modi, the same passion how we have seen last time.
I would like to say that we support Modi ji, and Modi ji, you rock. Whatever you do, we are here, the Indian diaspora from Brazil, we are here to support you, and we stay strong with your leadership and the kind of guidance that you are giving us to our nation. And just thank you, and we are really grateful.
With camera person Piyush Verma, this is Meghna Dev for DD India from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Earlier in Argentina, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held delegation-level talks with President Javier Milei, who led the Argentinian side. The two leaders met in restricted and delegation-level formats. The leaders held extensive discussions and reviewed the entire gamut of the bilateral ties. They called for enhancing cooperation in the fields of critical minerals, oil and gas, defense, nuclear energy, agriculture, science and technology, use of drones in agriculture, digital public infrastructure, space, railways, pharmaceuticals, sport and people-to-people ties, among other things. The two leaders also took stock of the ongoing economic collaboration. The Prime Minister noted that while bilateral trade was on a stable trajectory, the two sides needed to work on the diversification of the trade basket to harness the full potential of commercial engagement. Prime Minister Modi paid tributes at the San Martin Memorial in Buenos Aires on Saturday in Argentina, which was the third leg of his five-nation tour. The Monumento al General San Martin is an imposing equestrian monument honoring Jose de San Martin, the revered liberator of Argentina, Chile and Peru. It stands as a symbol of Latin American independence and is a significant site of national pride in Argentina. PM Modi's visit to the memorial underscores India's respect for global freedom fighters. He landed at Ezeiza International Airport earlier on Friday and was on an official visit at the invitation of the President of the Republic of Argentina, Javier Milei. And during his visit to Argentina, Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid floral tributes to Mahatma Gandhi in Buenos Aires. The Prime Minister also interacted with the Indian community in the city. The Prime Minister received the key to the city of Buenos Aires from Jose Macri, the chief of the city government of Buenos Aires. The Prime Minister also paid a tribute to Rabindranath Tagore in the city. In November 1924, Rabindranath Tagore came to Argentina on his way to Peru. He was invited to attend the centenary celebrations of the Battle of Ayacucho, which helped Peru become free from Spanish rule. But when he reached Buenos Aires, he got sick because he was very tired after a long trip around Europe. Prime Minister Modi discussed potential opportunities for partnership in the energy sector with Argentina during his meeting with Argentine President Javier Milei.
The Prime Minister underlined India's growing energy and industrial needs and emphasized that Argentina could serve as a reliable partner in supporting India's developmental journey. With the world's second largest shale gas and fourth largest shale oil reserves, along with substantial conventional oil and gas deposits, Argentina holds strong potential to become an important energy partner for India. Argentina's rich reserves of critical minerals, including lithium, copper, and rare earth elements, align with India's need for secure and sustainable resources to drive its clean energy transition and industrial growth.
And Prime Minister Modi sought Argentina's support in expanding the India-Mercosur preferential trade agreement. The Prime Minister and Argentine President expressed interest in enhancing collaboration in defense sector.
The two leaders discussed the necessity of diversifying and expanding bilateral trade. The Prime Minister requested Argentina's support in expanding the India-Mercosur preferential trade agreement, noting that such an expansion can bring mutual benefits for both sides and open up new opportunities. Both leaders also expressed interest in enhancing collaboration in the defense sector, where they felt that they can leverage their respective experiences and capabilities to increase cooperation and contribute to mutual strategic interests.
Prime Minister Modi highlighted India's strengths in the pharmaceutical sector. He discussed the possibilities of exporting high-quality, affordable medicines to Argentina.
The Prime Minister highlighted India's strength in the healthcare and pharmaceutical sectors, particularly the capacity to produce high-quality, affordable medicines. He discussed the possibility of India being moved from Annex 2 to Annex 1 of Argentina's pharmaceutical regulatory framework, which would facilitate smoother entry of Indian pharmaceutical products into the Argentine market.
And Prime Minister Modi discussed India's Unified Payments Interface or UPI system with Argentine President Javier Milei. He highlighted how it has increased productivity in India.
The other major topic of discussion during lunch was about India's UPI, Unified Payment Interface system, and how it has increased productivity in India, how it has led to very impressive formalization in the Indian economy, how it generates more data which can be used by the government and by economists to try and target various benefits to sections of the population more efficiently, how it generates a credit record that can be relied on for microcredit for farmers and small businesses, how the formalization of the economy has increased tax compliance.
Right, let's get you some more world news now. Elon Musk, an ex-ally of President Trump, says he is launching a new political party weeks after a dramatic fallout with U.S. President Donald Trump. The billionaire announced on his social media platform X that he had set up the America Party. He billed it as a challenge to the Republican and Democratic two-party system. The announcement from Musk comes after President Trump signed a tax cut and spending bill into law on Friday, which the billionaire chief executive officer of Tesla fiercely opposed. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Sunday that he will send a team of officials to Qatar to talk about a possible ceasefire and hostage deal in Gaza. However, he rejected the changes that Hamas made to the latest ceasefire proposal. Hamas had said on Friday that it was ready to begin talks right away on a ceasefire plan supported by the United States. U.S. President Trump is pushing hard to end the war in Gaza, which has lasted nearly 21 months. Netanyahu is expected to visit Washington, D.C. on Monday to meet with President Trump. For his part, Trump has said that he plans to be firm with Netanyahu, hoping to build on a recent truce between Iran and Israel to also bring peace to Gaza. Rescuers searched on Saturday for 27 girls missing from a riverside summer camp in the U.S. state of Texas after torrential rains caused devastating flooding that killed at least 32 people, with more rain pounding the region. The sheriff's office in Kerr County, Texas, said more than 850 people had been evacuated from the region as floodwaters receded in the area around the Guadalupe River. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said at a news briefing that he had asked President Trump to sign a disaster declaration which would unlock federal aid for those affected.
President Trump, he loves Texas for one. He's deeply concerned about all the families who've been affected, but also knows about the magnitude of the devastation that we're suffering. And so what I'm about to sign now is going to be the first step in a process. This document is a request for a federal disaster declaration coming from the governor to seek the immediate and ongoing help of the federal government.
The Ukraine-Russia conflict remains deadlocked after a tense call between the U.S. and Russian presidents. Meanwhile, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky and U.S. President Donald Trump have agreed to strengthen Kyiv's air defenses amid the escalating situation. Both sides have launched strikes and appear to be preparing for further confrontation as diplomatic efforts continue to stall.
The Russia-Ukraine conflict remains at a standstill after the recent phone call between the US and Russian presidents ended without a breakthrough. A day later, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said he discussed air defenses with US President Donald Trump.
We talk about sanctions a lot, yeah. What does he say? I would say he's not thrilled with it, but, he's been able to handle sanctions, but these are pretty biting sanctions. No, we talk about sanctions a lot. And he understands that it may be coming, and he's a professional.
Russia launched its largest drone and missile assault on Ukraine, prompting US President Donald Trump to suggest possible sanctions and criticize Russian President Vladimir Putin. The United Nations condemned the attacks and called for an immediate, full and unconditional ceasefire. While on Saturday, Ukraine's special forces struck Russia's Borisov-Glebsk military airfield in the Voronezh region, targeting a glide bomb storage and trainer aircraft. The base hosts enemy Su-34, Su-35S and Su-30SM aircraft. Meanwhile, despite its military actions, the Kremlin reiterated a preference for a diplomatic solution but vowed to continue its operation. On the other hand, US has scaled back some aid to Ukraine, raising concerns in Kiev. As both sides continue to intensify military actions and diplomatic efforts stall, the future of the conflict remains uncertain. Rabindra Chauhan's report for DD India.
Rwanda's President Paul Kagame has warned the Democratic Republic of the Congo against any tricks in implementing a US-brokered peace deal, raising concerns that peace will remain elusive between the two neighbors. This report has more details.
Just days after a US-brokered peace deal, tensions have started emerging between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Rwandan President Paul Kagame warned that the deal could collapse if Congo failed to neutralize Hutu militiamen linked to the 1994 Rwandan genocide.
We reached an agreement in Washington, D.C., but it is not up to Washington to implement it. It's those who reach the agreement there to actually be the ones to implement what they agreed. You will never find Rwanda at fault with implementing what we have agreed to do. You'll never. But if the side we are working with plays tricks and takes us back to the problem, then we deal with the problem like you have been dealing with it.
Last month, the foreign ministers of Rwanda and the DRC signed the pact in Washington, D.C. in the presence of U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. U.S. President Donald Trump hailed the agreement, which aims to attract billions of dollars of Western investment to Eastern Congo, which is rich in minerals like copper, lithium, and gold. As per the deal, the two sides have pledged to implement a 2024 agreement that would see Rwandan troops withdraw from Eastern Congo within nearly 90 days. The two countries will also launch a regional economic integration framework within the same time frame. Rwanda has sent at least 7,000 soldiers to DR Congo. According to Congo and UN, the troops have been sent to support M23 rebels who seized Eastern Congo's two largest cities and lucrative mining areas in a lightning advance earlier this year. Rwanda has denied helping M23, saying its forces are acting in self-defense against Congo's army and Hutu militiamen. Meanwhile, Congo's government and M23 have said that they would send delegations back to Qatar for separate talks aimed at ending the conflict, which has claimed thousands of lives. Bureau Report, DD India.
In other news, the latest World Bank data ranks India as the most equal country in the world in terms of income. India's extreme poverty dropped to 2.3%, placing it in the moderately low inequality category. India has surpassed the US and China in the list. The next report by Ragini Sudhir Chaure brings you the insights.
India has achieved a remarkable milestone in its development journey, not just as the world's fourth largest economy, but now also as one with least economic inequalities. According to the latest World Bank data, India's Gini index stands at 25.5, placing it as the fourth most equal country in the world. India's score puts it far ahead of many advanced economies, including the United States, which stands at 41.8, and China, which has a Gini score of 35.7. Notably, India ranks as more equal than every G7 and G20 nation, placing it in the moderately low inequality category and just a fraction away from entering the low inequality group. It joins a select group of just 30 countries worldwide that have managed to achieve this level of economic equity, most of which are smaller or wealthier European nations. Over the past 10 years, 171 million Indians have been lifted out of extreme poverty. A key driver behind the transformation is a series of well-implemented government initiatives that combine digital technology with grassroots outreach. The key government initiatives are the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, which has brought over 55 crore Indians into the formal banking system. Aadhaar, India's biometric digital ID system, now covers over 142 crore people and forms the foundation of welfare targeting. Direct benefit transfer system ensures subsidies and aid reach the intended recipients, cutting down leakages and saving over 3.48 lakh crore rupees. Ayushman Bharat scheme has revolutionized access by providing up to 5 lakh rupees in medical coverage to over 41 crore beneficiaries, supported by more than 32,000 hospitals. Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission and Ayushman Vyaya Vandana are further strengthening coverage, especially for senior citizens. Entrepreneurs from marginalized communities have schemes like Stand Up India that have provided over 62,000 crore rupees in loans, and the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana has reached over 80 crore people with free food grains during times of need. India's Gini index of 25.5 is more than just a statistic, as it reflects a shift in the living realities of millions. More families today have access to nutritious food, banking, healthcare, and opportunities to earn and grow. India's success lies in its ability to pair economic reform with robust social protection. While other nations struggle to balance growth with equity, India has shown that inclusive development is not only possible but sustainable. Ragini Sudhir Chaure's report for DD India.
The 16th Toy Biz International B2B exhibition is being held at New Delhi's Bharat Mandapam from the 4th to the 7th of July, with more than 400 Indian brands exhibiting their innovations. Organized every year by the Toy Association of India, the expo has evolved into South Asia's premier B2B trade show for toys and games. This detailed report by Abhishek Mahajan.
Over 350 Indian toy manufacturers have come together under one roof for Toy Biz, showcasing their latest creations from traditional wooden toys to cutting-edge games, all proudly made in India. A large number of foreign buyers are expected to participate in this mega event.
About more than 50 countries, registration is done for the foreign buyers. Number is more than 125. So this is the first time in the history for toy industry that we have invited more than 50 countries buyer. They are looking the toys and they are surprised that we are displaying a good quality product with the good packaging and competitive price.
This exhibition is a testament to India's growing manufacturing capabilities as country is setting new standards and a wide market.
PM Modi had in October 2020 edition of Man Ki Baat, he has emphasized the role of toys, and in 2014 itself he said to be vocal for local. Nobody understood this at that time, and today we are a good player in international arena.
Backed by Make in India initiative, the Indian toy industry has seen a remarkable transformation in recent years, with exports increasing and imports dropping by nearly 70% since 2014. India's toy industry, once heavily dependent on imports, is now manufacturing domestically and exporting to 153 countries.
Design, packaging and branding, ये तीन विषयों के ऊपर अगर हमने सबने फोकस किया तो मैं समझता हूं कि आगे चल के the world will be our market.
Now hailed as South Asia's premier B2B trade show for toys and games, ToyBiz has become a powerful platform connecting Indian manufacturers with global buyers, promoting not just commerce but culture too.
It's a B2B exhibition, so we are getting along with a lot of customers who wants us to manufacture for them. So like a lot of OEM orders from big brands from all over the world, and we are also getting people who come and who want to take toys to Singapore, Dubai, Hong Kong, and get things manufactured specifically from India.
This is a major shift from the 12th edition of the exhibition held in 2019, wherein of 116 stalls, 90 stalls exhibited only imported toys. Abhishek Mahajan's report, DD India.
And that's all for this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code to download it. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran from all of us here in New Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.